Kaushik is not there. When he's sick or something, what is that? How many days? She's missed 2 weeks. 3 classes is missed. Who else is absent? One is who else is absent? Here? Here. You want to come here? Come. Gufran, where you want to sit? I'm giving you an option. Before I start the class, I'm giving you an option. Anybody wants to shift, you shift. Otherwise, I will shift you. Not for everyone. Go. I'll switch off this one. Let's go. Are we ready? Yes.
Human eye and mechanical effects don't have
I'm still waiting for silence. You heard what I said? I said I'm still waiting for silence. Unless everyone is ready, I don't start. And I've given you an option to shift places. I don't want to see anybody disturbing my class. Virat, did you understand what I'm saying? Now, if you notice in your textbook, your chapter number 10 is just after a chapter where we are talking about lenses and mirrors. Okay. Light. Chapter number 9 was about light, followed by chapter 10, which talks about the human eye. Okay. Try to understand what I'm saying. Why is it that we are including a chapter of biowave physics? We're talking about the human eye. It's very much a bio chapter. Lenses.
light as well.
Glass prism. No.
Light as well.
Exactly. When we are talking about light, we have seen that when light falls on any object, only then it is going to be visible to us. Correct? Suppose you enter a dark room, a pitch dark room, even though it has got furniture in the room, you will not be able to see anything. Why? Because there's no light. Okay? But the moment there is a small crack in the curtains or in the window and the light begins to stream in, we realize that we are able to see the furniture which is present in the room. Okay? So we do realize for us to see what is important. Light is important. Because when light falls on any surface, what is happening? It is getting reflected. So there are multiple reflections of light taking place in a well-lit room, and that is why we are able to see the objects which is present around us. Now the question arises as to how is the human eye of all the 5 senses that we talk about, whether it is the hearing or the touch or the taste, okay? This human sight itself is very, very important. And I think we should all the time be very happy, and we should also be very grateful because we don't realize how lucky we are. Okay? Just imagine for 5 minutes, if you close your eyes and start moving around, you do realize.
आप लोग का केमिस्ट्री का क्वेश्चन जो था ना आपने जो बोला था कल सॉरी बायो तो हटा दिए अभी आप नया टाइम टेबल लिख सकते हो केमिस्ट्री ऐसे ही कर देना ठीक है कंट्रोल एंड कोऑर्डिनेशन अभी आप टाइम टेबल ठीक से दिए है ना
Okay, so what was I talking about? Is of all the five senses, the sense of sight is very, very crucial. Okay? Just imagine how people who are visually disabled, how is it that they are able to make their way around? Visually disabled. Instead of using the word blind, I'm talking about a person who is not having any vision. It's so difficult. It's very difficult. They are able to move around, they are using brain. But we take our things, our lives for granted. So that's why I would say always, whenever you get up in the morning, just say a small prayer and be thankful for what you have. Today we are going to see how effective eyes are. Because of our eyes, we are able to see the world around us. Okay? One thing that you would have already realized when we are talking about the previous chapter, we talked about two things of light. What was it? One is reflection. When light strikes against a surface, a smooth surface, shining surface, it's getting reflected. And the other one is refraction. What happens in refraction? When light passes through a transparent medium, and when it comes over to the other side, it changes its path. It's no longer going to be in the same path. And this is basically what is known as refraction. Okay? So when you're talking about the human eye, you realize that there is a lens in the human eye, and that is basically where the refraction is taking place. Is that okay? Come back again to the ray diagrams of your lenses. When we are talking about lenses, what are the two types of lenses that we have already spoken about? It is a convex lens and a concave lens. So basically we are talking about the convex lens which is present in the human eye. Okay? The very first ray diagram of the convex lens, what did we talk about? I'm just refreshing your memory. If this is your lens, okay, and we have our object which is placed at infinity, we have got the rays of light parallel to the principal axis. What happens? What type of a lens is it? Is it a diverging or it is converging?
Converging.
It is converging. Okay, so it is converging. So we have got a ray of light. It is converging. Similarly, if you are talking about another ray, once again parallel to the principal axis, because it is a converging lens, it is going to converge. So what forms here?
Image.
What type of an image?
Virtual.
What type of an image?
Real.
Real.
Real and
Inverted.
And
diminished.
as when compared to the object. Okay, so what type of an image is this? It is a real image and it is an inverted image. Okay. Now I want you to remember this, and when we talk about the human eye, you'll find that it is such a fascinating concept that scientists have still not been able to really understand how this image is formed. We find an inverted image. You are an object. How do I see?
Because of the brain, the image is sent to the brain.
Yeah.
And
So
once
how
it's
the
seen
brain is interpreting, and we are seeing the erect image itself. Have you found out? Okay, even though there is an inverted image which is formed on the retina, but the brain is interpreting in such a way that we are able to see the actual object in the actual matter itself. Okay, so let's see first of all what is a human eye? Basically, of course, we are using this human eye concept in order to appreciate that the presence of a convex lens, which is bringing about such type of convergence of light taking place, and basically what is happening here. So if you look at the human eye, it's roughly spherical. I'm just drawing a rough figure for you to understand. Okay. Now there are two the surfaces that I talk about. One is like what we actually see. We are talking about a human eye this way. That's your friend. Okay. But now what is the diagram that I'm going to draw? This side is the side one. Suppose you are talking about this side. How does a human eye look from the side? That is your lateral image. Right? So we have got roughly spherical, and we have the most important thing is your convex lens. Correct? Why? Because when we are talking about the light which is entering into our eye, what is happening? It is a converging lens, and the light is converging onto the screen. Right? So what is the screen called? The screen is your retina. Now this retina is a light sensitive screen. This part of it, of course, is not given in your textbook, but it is made up of two different type of cells. Human beings are capable of seeing color. Okay, we can make out PIDGYOR. So that is your visible range. But if you look at most of the animals, they are not able to decide the color. Okay, it's either they are having maybe probably some shades. Okay, they will not see the entire range. Okay, so that's because of the presence of two different type of cells, which are the rods and the cones. What are they? They are the rods and the cones. So the rods are the ones which are responsible for finding out the brightness of light or dimness of light, and the cones are those which are responsible for identification of color. Okay, so it depends upon the frequency. So luckily it is the human beings who have the special facility of having both rods and cones in the retina. Okay, so what are these? These are light sensitive cells. So the moment the light falls on the retina, they pick up the signals and they send it to the brain. So how is it that they send it to the brain? You obviously have a nerve. Okay, so this happens to be your optic nerve. Sending the signals to the brain is interpreting it, and instantly you're able to see the image which is formed on the brain. Now here again, okay. So we said that since it is roughly spherical, this diameter of the eye is approximately about what they have written as 2.3 centimeters. So here we have got 2.3 centimeter. What does it tell us? What is the focal length of the human eye? Approximately. Refer this diagram and refer that diagram. Do you understand? Where is the image formed in the human eye?
In front.
It is formed on the retina. Okay. Now I'm asking you, what is the focal length of the human eye? Look at this diagram. Right, look at this diagram. This is your lens. Okay. And this is your
1.1.
F. Right, that is your focal length. So what is this distance called?
Focal length.
It is your focal length. Now tell me what is the focal length?
1.15.
Where is the image formed?
At the retina.
Where is the image formed here? On the screen that I see here. So what is the screen like? Yes. Exactly. If your retina itself is the screen, did you get it? This retina is the screen. तो आपका image कहाँ है? That is, it's formed on the screen itself. So that is your focal length. Clear? Clear? What is happening here? We are keeping a screen here. Okay? So हो गया हमारा जो tree है, whatever it is, that tree image is formed here. So how do we calculate the focal length? It is the distance between the lens and the screen. What happens in the human eye? The human eye, the screen itself is your retina. So the distance between approximately, that's why I said approximately, is about 2.3 centimeters. Is that okay? Now, another important thing that you will see, it's not a perfect sphere, but it is slightly bulging out. Okay, and this is your transparent cover, which is called as a cornea. Yes, that's why I'm drawing it for you. It will definitely come in the examinations, and that is why I'm drawing step by step to show you how you are going to be drawing. Okay, what did I draw first? A sphere. First you understand, then I'll make you draw. Don't draw now. You'll get confused. I'll teach and then I'll give you time, you do it again. Is that okay? Now what is this? This is your cornea. Is cornea, my question, listen to my questions very carefully. Is cornea opaque?
No.
It has to be transparent. Why?
Very
Very good. Because the light has to pass in and it has to form an image on the retina. So what is the function of the cornea? It allows the light to pass in and therefore this is your transparent covering. Okay? Then of course you have, yes. Please.
Ma'am, the diameter, which is the approximate diameter that is given, so it is from the bulging surface or from
Approximately, I've just taken it as units. Let us say this is your,
It depends.
it's not such a small thing, 2.3 is just about so much. It's about an inch. Okay, so that's why I use the word approximate. Is that okay? So your cornea is transparent. Okay. What happens if it becomes opaque?
The light would reflect, it won't pass, it won't pass, the image would be formed on the retina.
So
We won't be able to see.
the person becomes corneal blindness. What is it called? It's blindness, not night blindness. I'll talk about night blindness. This is corneal blindness. So what happens is, if the cornea itself is not transparent, it becomes translucent because of something, so many things, okay? Or maybe even due to infections. Then of course the light will not enter in and the person can become blind. Okay? So one of the first things that we must remember is the importance of organ donation. Do you understand? When a person dies, right, eyes are of no use to us. Okay? But they are going to harvest the eyes. Okay? When you call the doctors, they are able to take. The two most important things of the eyes which can be used is the cornea and the lens. Did you understand? So the cornea can be removed and it can be donated to some person who is blind. Same thing with the lens. Okay? If the no, please don't talk in between. If the lens is clouded, then again a person becomes blind. He is not able to see. Okay? So the two things or the two parts of the human eye which can be used for organ donation is the cornea as well as the lens. Have you followed? So that's why it becomes very, very important to pledge your body or pledge for donation so that after the death of a person, it can benefit so many other people. It's said that almost about 2% of the children in the world are suffering from blindness. The world, just imagine the number of children who don't have sight. Okay, so one person can give 2 eyes and obviously so many organs, so many people can be benefited. Coming back, so we said about cornea which is transparent. Are we ready?
Yes.
Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay. So now here, imagine you're going into bright sunlight. Imagine you're just going outside, it's bright sunlight. Will you be able to see like this?
No.
Immediately what
Going
happens? Yeah, you will have immediately.
It becomes
Yeah.
small.
Yeah. So we are talking about our eye and immediately the eyelids will squint because it's too bright light. Okay. So that's because of this. We find that there is a small opening in the eye. If you notice, if you stand before the mirror, you will notice that there's a small opening and that is the pupil. So the pupil is the one which controls the intensity or the amount of light which is entering into the
Even that is covered, right?
It's covered. There's nothing is open, okay? Obviously, huh? So we have got, yeah. I'll tell you about that. Lacrimal glands, right? So we have a diaphragm, look at me. This is the muscular diaphragm and that is the opening which I have written as the pupil. So this is the pupil. Okay. Now if I show you the side view, the pupil will be like this. Why? Because this is the diaphragm which is controlling the size of the pupil. So when you come into a dark room, obviously it has to allow light to enter in and this pupil becomes large. Okay. So the other portion, this part of it is your muscular diaphragm which is called as an iris. So iris part of it is colored. Okay, like it may be blue or grey. Indians and Asians, of course, we have got black or dark brown. So that is the iris. So this part of it is the iris. So what is the function of the iris? Iris is a muscular diaphragm which controls the intensity of the light. It is allowing the light to enter in. Okay, and this is the pupil. So this is the side section where you can actually see. Next, you will also see that this lens has to be held in place. I've just shown it floating. It cannot be floating. So obviously there are some muscles and these are the muscles, ciliary muscles. These are the ones which is holding it. Okay, so this happens to be your ciliary muscles.
And what would happen if those muscles become weak?
These muscles, I'll talk about accommodation and a little later we'll also talk about accommodation, you will realize. So what is the ciliary muscle doing? It is holding the lens in place. Okay. Also imagine that when these muscles are stretched, the shape of the lens can change. It is like this. Lens, can you see the lens? It can become thinner or it can become bulged out. I can read a book at this range. I can also see what is in distance there in infinity. That means to say the focal length of the eye lens can be adjusted by changing the shape of the eye lens. Did you understand? In a camera, what happens? The lens is going to be constant. We are only moving it up and down. If you look at the telephoto lens recently, we had Wimbledon and all that, you have seen that. Okay? But in a human eye, what is happening? It is the shape of the eye lens itself which changes. It can become slightly bulged out or it can become long and thin. How? Because of the presence of these ciliary muscles. Did you understand? Is it clear till now? Then, what is present in this cavity? Obviously, there is nothing there. There is no air. So, there is a jelly-like substance. Okay, there's a jelly-like substance and this is what is known as a vitreous humor. What is it called? Vitreous. Okay, and this is your anterior or aqueous humor. Is that okay? Now you realize what we have realized what are the parts of the eye and what is the function. So when I'm reading it down now, you are going to identify the different parts and also learn what are the function of the different parts. Is that okay? It's all up and down. In your textbook, it's not given clearly. We will do it. Human eye. The first part of it, of course, is the introduction. We will do it afterwards. I'll tell you how to do it. Human eye is one of the most valuable and sensitive of the sense organs. Ready? Enables us to see the wonderful words and the colors. On closing the eyes, what is the function of the eye? Protect and also to keep the moist air. Okay, it cannot be dry. And plus, of course, there's a lot of dust, microorganisms. Eyelashes, of course, protects us from dust and all that. But every time you blink, what is happening? There's a layer of moisture which is coming and it is protecting the cornea. Okay. Sometimes what happens is you may find people having some kind of an infection which is red eye. That is nothing but an infection of the outer cornea.
Ma'am, there's a name for that. It happens in the ladies.
Itis, yes, basically. It is It's a viral disease. Okay? Okay. Itis. Anything which is ending in itis. Okay. Conjunctiva. Listen to me. Shh, shh, shh. Anything which is ending in an itis shows that it is inflammation of. Out. Go there. I'll talk to him later on. Go there. Like for example, hepatitis. What is hepatitis? Itis. Liver. Hepatitis. Okay. Hepatic vein you have learned. Hepatitis is okay. Anything with regard.
That disease is like your pupil gets cloudy.
I'll talk about it. We are talking about cataract. That's your cataract. Okay. Yeah. So eyelids have a function not only to close and to protect, but also every time you close your eyelids, it's providing a layer of lubrication. Okay. Next camera. Next paragraph. Human eye is like a camera. Okay, I'll ask you questions regarding that. Underline the statement. It's like a camera because we need to understand what are the parts which is similar to that of the camera. Its lens system forms an image on a light sensitive screen called the retina. If I'm asking you what is a retina, what will you say? Where is the retina present? It's a light sensitive screen. Okay? Underline that. The light enters the eye through a thin membrane called as a cornea. I want you to also include the word transparent. Yeah, very important. But you need to write that cornea is a transparent screen or a transparent membrane. Okay, it forms a transparent bulge on the front surface of the eyeball. They have given in the next slide. Eyeball is approximately spherical, diameter 2.3. Okay. Are you getting all the important points? Because I've already discussed it and you should know what you have to underline now. 2.3 diameter. Most of the refraction, we are talking about refraction of what? Of light, which is entering. Okay. It is entering, occurs at the outer surface of the cornea. So here, the maximum refraction is taking place as well as the lens. Then, the crystalline lens. What is the lens made of? Is it glass?
No.
They are not talking about lens. These are glasses. I'm talking about lens. What do you think? What do you think, children? What is it made of? Obviously, it is transparent. It is a type of protein. Okay? No, it's a type of crystalline protein, which is the lens. Now, another thing that we'd like to discuss here is sometimes if the lens itself becomes cloudy, obviously a person cannot see properly. This is because of age-related issues. Okay? Then, of course, a person needs to go in for a cataract operation. Okay, you must have heard a cataract operation, where it is very simple procedure nowadays. Surgery has become very easy. They take out this lens and they insert another lens which is very similar to that of the human lens.
How would they take?
Surgery procedures. Okay. Small aperture is made and very finely only the lens part of it is removed and it is inserted.
I read some cataract is also one of the safest.
It's quite safe nowadays compared to what was happening 50 years back. Now obviously it has improved a lot. Okay, coming to lens.
I read somewhere like it said that if a human eye was a camera, then it would have around 2.3 million megapixels.
Maybe it's quite possibly. Quite possible. Okay, look at the next slide. The crystalline lens. Are we there?
Yes.
merely provides the finer adjustment of the focal length required to focus objects of different distances on the retina. Can you imagine? We are able to see something that's close by. We are also able to see something that's very far away at infinity. We can see the sunset and the mountains, etc. So how quickly the lens is capable of adjusting its focal length? Did you see? Iris is a dark, muscular diaphragm that controls the size of the pupil. So we are talking about the iris, underline, because this is your homework. For today's homework, this is all that you are going to be writing. For each part, you are going to write down what are the functions and where it is position and functions. Okay? Size of the pupil. The pupil regulates and controls the amount of light. Go to the next page. What type of an image is formed? Eye lens is forming a real image and an inverted image. Yes.
You told that we can see sunset and mountains, all that, but I just some range, like 8 kilometers.
We'll talk about that. When I talk about the next paragraph about the computation, I'll also talk about it. The retina is a delicate membrane. So what are we talking now? Retina. Where is the retina? It's here. Okay. And what is the function of the retina?
Obtain the image.
Yes, it's a screen for the image to be formed, and it is a light sensitive screen. Okay. The light sensitive cells get activated upon illumination and they generate electrical signals. How are the signals sent to the brain?
Optical
To
nerve.
the optic nerve. Okay. Via the optic nerve. This is your optic center here. You have already learned the structure of the brain, I hope.
No, ma'am.
Cerebrum, cerebellum,
Ma'am,
medulla
it's there in the next chapter.
Okay, you are not yet come to that.
Ma'am,
Okay, the brain interprets these signals and finally processes the information so that we can perceive the objects as they are. Take half a page, take a full page. That's going to help you. There may be some other parts which are not mentioned in your textbook. It's okay. Quickly, giving you 5 minutes.
10 minutes. I'm gonna Google for you now. Ma'am, yes, ma'am. Let's go in a bit.
Hurry up, hurry up. It's the same thing. First, okay, stepwise, no talking now.
I'm going
First, you draw a circle. You can refer to your textbook also.
This can be drawn.
Diagram in your textbook is also fine. This is just colored, so I thought it was easy. Draw the outer circle. Quick. Step number 2, draw the lens. I'm telling you what has to be done. Draw the lens quickly.
First, let us draw the
Good. Circle is already done. How long does it take you?
And then again here.
Yeah. There are 3 years, but don't have to show everything.
And there was ask that, and there was another the ask there and
What did I say? Whatever is there in your One more sound and I'm going to the next thing. I'll ask you to do it for homework now. Hurry up. The next is after the lens, draw those muscles. Shh. Don't look at that. Look at the diagram I've sketched out. That's much easier for you. You can develop that afterwards. The bulge will not be very huge bulge, just a gradual bulge.
quick question. So small, or like,
मैम मेरे स्मॉल भी नहीं बनता
Please concentrate on whatever you're doing. It's not talking period right now. Okay, there's no need for you to show all the layers. Later on, we can learn that. Once you have done this, lens, show this part. Okay, the iris. Iris is this part. The one that I'm drawing in blue. Draw a circle, you're taking so much time. Good, come on, come on. Where is it? Yeah, very good. No need to show that 2.3. I've just written it on the board. Nobody is going to write that. Just for your reference to the focal length, I have written this part. There's no need for you. Vishnu? Yeah, good. See, so easy with that. Very good. Finish, come on. Lens, draw the lens fast.
Where was the iris?
Iris. So look at the iris, this is the one. I've drawn this picture for you. Abhishek. This is what you can make of. The colored part of it is the iris. And the one which is inside that small dot like thing is your pupil.
I'm sitting here.
Okay? Done?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Along with the labeling.
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Homework. Homework will be to do the entire diagram once again. Okay, and learn it up. Okay, now.
Let me just scale that. Scale huh?
You people keep on talking in this in class or what? Is this allowed? Okay, stop your work. All those who are still drawing, please stop, because now I'm going to start with the next section, which is the power of accommodation. Look at the board. Pencils down. So we were talking about how The human eye is capable of seeing various lens. Okay? And obviously it can change the shape of the eye lens. And how does it do it? If you look at the eye lens carefully, it is convex, but of course it is held by these ciliary muscles. Okay, when these ciliary muscles are pulling it, the lens becomes longer. That means to say the focal length increases, right? And you're able to see objects which are very far away. Similarly, when you want to see something that's closer, these muscles are the ones which contract and therefore it starts bulging, and therefore obviously you will be able to see various type of objects which are closer to you. What did I say? Stop drawing. Stop drawing. You can continue afterwards. But however, you will realize that there is a particular distance by which you can actually see the objects clearly. For example, if you want to read anything, this is what you'll be able to read. But the moment you start getting your book or the reading material closer and closer, what happens? It gets blurred. Did you try it out at any time? When you get it very close,
Till 25 centimeters.
it gets blurred. Okay? So obviously at a certain
Ma'am, when it comes at 25 centimeters, it gets blurred.
So that is the minimum distance that is comfortable for us to read. Okay? I'll just throw out one or two of you outside, then you will realize how to behave in the class. So what is the minimum distance? We are talking about a distance of 25 centimeter, which will help us to see the objects clearly. Okay? Anything less than 25 centimeters, obviously the image becomes blurred. Have you followed?
Yes.
And this is what is known as a least distance. Why are we talking about a least distance? Okay, so that is the distance which the eye can actually accommodate.
15 centimeters.
That is on an average, you will be able to see. A normal healthy eye will be able to see 25 centimeters and not less than. Yes, what is your?
If we have a least distance, then what? Why do we have a maximum distance? What will be
That is infinity. Okay, your maximum distance is far point. What is known as a far point
On the
is infinity. Okay, and this is the least distance of distinct vision. When we are talking about distinct vision, okay, distinct is what? It is clear. Don't get confused. There are two words here. Distance is one word and distinct is the other word. Many children mess up with these words. Pay attention to these words. The least distance, this is the distance of distinct vision. Distinct vision is where the vision is distinct or it is clear. So what is the least distance of distinct vision? It is 25 centimeter. And what is the far point? Far point is how far can you see? It is going to be infinity. You can see any object which is in infinity. This is of course for a normal eye. Obviously the human eye also has got certain aberrations, it has got certain problems. That is when we have to use such type of lenses. Okay, so it could be a concave lens, it could be a convex lens, it may be even a bifocal lens and so on and so forth, which we are going to study in the next class. We are talking about myopia, hypermetropia, okay, and stuff like that. So basically now, right now, we have also seen what is meant by power of accommodation. Clear? Right? Anybody there? Do you have a textbook with you? You have three. Power of accommodation. No, no talking now. Come on, read.
The eye lens is composed of fibrous jelly-like material. Its curvature can be modified to some extent by the ciliary muscles.
Underline, underline. So you have to pick up this point when you are going to be writing for your homework. What is the function of the ciliary muscle?
It can be modified.
Modify what? Yes, it can modify the curvature, or you can write, it can modify the focal length of the lens.
The change in the curvature of the eye lens can thus change its focal length. When the muscles are relaxed, the lens becomes thin, thus its focal length increases. This enables us to see distant objects clearly. When you are looking at objects closer to the eye, the ciliary muscles contract. This increases the curvature of the eye lens. The eye lens then becomes thicker, Consequently, the focal length of the eyes decreases. This enables us to see nearby objects clearly.
1 minute. Okay, we are talking about focal length increasing and decreasing. When we want to see something that's close to our eyes, what should be the focal length? It should be more or it should be less?
More.
Read. Yes, read. Fine. Read that carefully. Read. See those lines carefully. What is the ciliary muscle doing? When it is thinner, focal length will be more, and therefore you can see objects which are far away. When it is bulging out, when the curvature is more, then obviously the focal length will be less, and you will be able to see objects which are closer. Okay, did you underline all those points?
Yes, ma'am.
Such type of questions could be asked, especially for your objective when you have got your MCQs. Yeah, continue please.
The ability of the eye lens to adjust its focal length is called accommodation. However, the focal length of the eye lens cannot be decreased below a certain minimum limit. Try to read a printed page by holding it very close to your eyes. You may see the image being blurred or feel strain in the eyes. To see an object comfortably and distinctly, you must hold it about 25 centimeters from the eyes. The minimum distance at which object can be seen most distinctly without strain is called least distance or least distance of distinct vision.
Underline least distance of distinct vision.
It is also called the near point of the
Why
eye.
is it called as a near point? Because you're holding an object closer to your face, closer to the eye. Therefore, it is the near point. And the opposite of that is what? Far point. Okay, just far away.
For a young adult with normal vision, the near point is about 25 centimeters. The farthest point up to which the eye can see objects clearly is called far point of the eye. It is infinity for a normal eye. You may note here a normal eye can see objects clearly that are between 25 centimeters and infinity. Sometimes the crystalline lens of people at old age becomes bulky and cloudy. This condition is called a cataract. This is because of partially or complete loss of vision. It is possible to restore vision through a cataract surgery.
Okay, stop. In your notebook, come on, first point, quickly. Is this your notebook from the last page? Okay, I'm giving you points for which you're going to write a short note, at least about 2 to 3 lines. That's for your homework. Homework, first one. Retina. Next, cornea. Third, lens.
Retina, then
Lens. Fourth,
retina,
Retina corneal lens.
fourth point, iris. Next, fifth is pupil. Next, optic nerve. Okay, this you are going to write a short note, write about 2 to 3 sentences for each one of them. Okay, some of the points are also given in the next paragraph when you are talking about power of accommodation. Right. Now I am going to give you some of the other notes. Come on, take them. What is power of accommodation? Quickly. What is power of accommodation? The ability of the eye lens. Will you mark it in your textbook?
No.
Yes. Ability of the eye lens to adjust its focal length. To adjust its focal length.
My eyelids are focal length.
And that's it.
मार दिया और ऐसा दिखाया
Yeah.
नहीं तो पढ़ा
Is called accommodation. Some of the important points that you must remember, put it down in the form of bullet points, one below the other. Near point of the eye. What is the near point of the eye? What is
25
this?
centimeters.
Write it down. 25 centimeters from the eye. And write down the definition. The minimum distance. The minimum distance at which objects can be seen most distinctly without strain. Is called, what is it called?
Least distance of distinction.
Least distance of distinct vision. What is the other word for it?
Near point.
Near point. It's also called as a near point.
Least distance.
Of what?
Of distinct
Distinct vision. Leave a line and write on the next one. Per point of the eye. From your textbook. Pick up the line from there. The furthest point up to which, did you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
This is
Far point. What is the far point, Pangmai? The farthest point, right? Up to which the eye can see objects. Right. Furthest point up to which the eye can see objects clearly is called the far point of the eye.
answer can be the. It can't be the most.
Continuing the same sentence, it is infinity for a normal eye. Did you write that? For a normal eye? For a normal eye, so what distances can we see the objects? It is between
25
infinity
and
and 25 centimeters for the loop. Is that okay? Yes. I want you to also write down, how does a human eye change its focal length to see objects at various distances? That's your next question. Take down the next question. How does the human eye see objects at varying distances? Try to recollect what you have to write here. What will you write? How can you see objects at varying distances? Yes. Correct.
That means the lenses are glass and enable us visibility at a distance.
Yes.
But when you have to near the should get the lens
Bulging, yes. Will you do this for homework? Okay. How the lens is changing the shape. It's becoming thinner and bulging. Remember to do your homework. 1 minute, boys. Next, this thing, chemistry class. Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Last week you did not.
Ma'am, when I was on the exercise,
मैम को 10 मिनट ब्रेक के लिए हां आई नो क्या है ऐसा तो अटेंड वही ना इसका क्या है एग्रीकल्चर में तू अटेंड कर एक
आता रुक रहा हूँ
अरे तू तो डाइट पे था ना ब्रो क्या कहते हैं
चुप चुप बोल रहा है कैमरा क्या क्या बोलेगा हाँ अरे लाइव स्ट्रीम चल रहा है पता नहीं आज की लाइव स्ट्रीम में देखूंगा अच्छे से फुल नहीं वहाँ देखेगा
अबे
नहीं है क्लास दूसरे क्लास है